children in school either. But if we're going to remain the leader of this nation and really the guiding light of this nation, which is what Florida has become over the last 15 years with the prosperity and the freedoms that we enjoy, we're going to have to elect the next leader of this state. And that gentleman is sitting here, right here with us tonight. Byron Donalds is going to be our next governor. And when we come back here in 5 years, the state of Florida will have no debt. We'll have the best business formation. We will continue to have the best education anywhere in this country. 9 years in a row, we've had the best education by World News Report. And it's going to be because of the leadership of Byron Donalds. And I'm very proud here tonight to invite him up here to speak to us, be our keynote. So please let's give a Pasco welcome to my good friend, Byron Donalds, our next governor.
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise, boy, I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now. God, I fell off, I'm still hot, knock your shell off. My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. Franchise, doing big business, I live this, it's automatic. I win this, so you hit them once you finish. A soldier, and I stay under you fighting. Plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm done.
First of all, Pasco County, it is great to be with all of you this evening. Troy, you packed them in here tonight. You packed them in. You've done a great job. And by the way, for all the candidates in the room, just have Troy do your fundraising. The way money was being thrown all over the room in here, this was a lot of people gonna be jealous of you, Troy. That's okay. Congratulations on all your success. And your success is really the success of the activists and the volunteers here in Pasco County who turn out the vote.
This is
You're playing me out already? Oh, man. I was just warming up. He's already playing me out. It's a good thing I got a sense of humor. Troy, thank you. Thank you. Where'd your wife go? Oh, you already left them now? You sneaking out of here? It's great to be with everybody. Thank you guys so much for having me. I don't want to do one of those weird speeches. I want to just do a personal one. The first is, man, that was the most moving thing I've ever witnessed. Truly, thank you for your service to this great nation. Thank you. Thank you. And the reason why I want to get a little bit personal and not so much about politics, although trust me, the politics is going to come in a moment. I was in the Capitol a week ago giving a tour to a family that had won an auction at a dinner like this, and I offered a friend of mine's grandson to offer the tour up for auction. So the family, the Varka family, won it, and they came to Washington, D.C. And we're going through the Capitol. I'm showing them all the pictures. We're taking the train from Rayburn office building into the Capitol. The two little young kids are jumping all over the place. The parents are a little upset. They want them to sit still, but they're kids. My wife and I have three. We've been there. They're a little bit older now. They're 22, 18, and 15. So now it's get up, come on. But when they were young, it's slow down, stop. All the people with kids laugh. They know that's the story. And so we're in the first floor of the Capitol. And I actually told this story earlier today when I was in Clearwater. We're in the first floor of the Capitol. In the first floor of the Capitol, there's a couple of things when you're in the when you're below the rotunda. One of them is a mock-up. It's a map of all of Washington, D.C. And you can see how the framers of this country, the Masons that built Washington, D.C., put the Capitol in the middle, and it was surrounded by the buildings and the streets and the structures to protect the Capitol. And right off the side of that table, that display table, is a copy of Magna Carta. And so the kids ran up and they're like, "What's this?" And I said, this is a copy, a replica of Magna Carta. Magna Carta was written in 1215. Magna Carta was the first document, the first transcribed document about human liberty. Magna Carta was the document that for the first time in in world history, said that if you're gonna be accused, you should have the ability to stand in front of your accusers. You should have the ability to have evidence be presented. Now you would say, Byron, why are you talking about a document like that? Because the framers of this nation, they understood and they read world history. And one of the first battles for human liberty where people, serfs, and lords actually won was Magna Carta. That is one of the pillars of our United States Constitution. It is what when you gave all your years to our military, it is what you upheld. Everybody in this room who has served this country in uniform, what you have upheld is the greatest governing document man has ever known that allows people to be free, to have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to own their property, freedom to have economic greatness if that's what occurs, to build a business and pass on that business to your next generation. And that document, which has unleashed the greatest nation man has ever known, the greatest republic in the history of the planet for the last 250 years, that document is more embodied in the great state of Florida than anywhere else across America. We have a lot of things that we have to do in Florida if we're going to stay great. We're the best state. Wilton is 100% correct. And Wilton, I love the way you said it. You tell them Texans. Because I remember I was in Dallas about 2 years ago, and I'm in an event. And these Texans, they come in, it kind of looks like this. Everybody's got their hat on, and they're proud of it. And here I am, the guy from Florida, no hat. And that's okay. And I'm in the room, and it was similar to this. The exit is over there, and I'm back up against the wall. And I have to be in the room with all these Texans and tell them a truth. And that truth is very simple. And I said it like this. I said, it is my honor to be in the second best state in America. So if you want to know if your next governor ain't afraid to say what needs to be said, tell the Texans in Dallas that they're number 2. And it's okay. 2 is great, but 1 is better. We're the best. Ron DeSantis has done an exemplary job leading Florida. And Wilton remembers Laurel Lee is sitting over there. I'm going to come to you in a second, Laurel. I'm going to come to you. I didn't forget you. Laurel's over there. Gus is sitting over there. Gus, my friend in Congress. Gus, if you try to come over here and take this microphone to talk about somebody else. No. Sit down, Gus. Don't do it. Don't do it. Gus, I love you. I love you now. I'm going to win, but you better take a seat because we rolling now. I love that, man. He is awesome. He really is. But during that time, when COVID struck and leaders in this room were here, maybe in different seats, but we remember that time, it took courage to look the world and the public health establishment in the eye and say, no, Florida's going to be free. It took courage to do that. And Ron DeSantis is to be commended for that courage. Before him, back in 2010, when the world's economy was flat on its back, and for those of you who were in the free state of Florida back in 2010, I was here, when Rick Scott was running for governor and his slogan was 700,000 jobs in 7 years and let's get to work, everybody said there's no way Florida's going to build it back. There's no way you're going to get those jobs back. And if you ask Rick Scott, he'll tell you, he goes, Byron, you know how many jobs I created? And I go, honestly, Rick, I can't remember. I remember 700,000 jobs in 7 years. I created 1.4 million jobs. We have a state that has been built on great conservative common sense leadership. And the first thing that needs to happen if we're going to remain number one is we are going to keep that common sense leadership in place. Chris Nacco, I know you're going to the state senate and you're going to do a great job because, Wilton and I, we're going to be watching you, so you're going to do a great job for Pasco County. But if you were staying as sheriff, you would continue to have all of the support from the great state of Florida. Because the men and women in uniform who keep our community safe every single day, they are going to get every tool, they are going to get every bit of support, because if you don't have safe streets, you do not have anything. You do not have anything. And I'm not saying that as a political statement, I'm saying it as somebody who was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Oh, they're like, oh no. I love you too, thank you. Love you. I love you. When I was growing up, it was the story of two mayors. When I was in middle school, David Dinkins was mayor of New York City, and crime was out of control. And a good thing for New York City that David Dinkins got beat for re-election. And the person that beat him was this guy named Rudy Giuliani. And when Rudy Giuliani became mayor of New York, he put the officers out on the beat. He made sure they patrolled the streets, and they held everything accountable. And a funny thing happened in New York. Crime came down. So the record is clear. If you back the blue and you give them what they need, our streets are safe. If our streets are safe, businesses can thrive. If our streets are safe, families can grow. And if our streets are safe, economies get better. So to you men and women who serve Pasco County or serve the great state of Florida in law enforcement, we will always have your back. That's the foundation in the free state of Florida. Your taxes, we're going to keep that low. And we'll see what happens with this ballot amendment. I'm going to vote for it. But if it doesn't work out, we're going to bring it back, because we have to reform this property tax system once and for all. Our seniors on fixed income, they need to keep money in their pocket. And our young working families is trying to figure out life and starting to build that Florida dream. They need an opportunity to build that for themselves. And that's not a political statement. Stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my wife, Erica Donalds. No. Stay standing. Turn around. She looks good, don't she? She looks good. Okay, that's it. Now you gotta sit down. When I first moved to Naples, Florida, this was 23 years ago. I moved to Florida 30 years ago to go to college. 23 years ago, there was a young lady had moved down to Bonita Springs after we both graduated from the Florida State University. Yes, I'm a Seminole. Come on now, Pasco, we were having a good time, and then now we got to do this. Wilson, it's bad news when a guy running for governor gets jeers like that. That's not good. Only football in the state of Florida will do that. I tell you what. We moved down, and her first job down in Naples, Florida was as a staff accountant. She got her degree in accounting, and she got an entry-level job as a staff accountant. On the weekend, she was working Kelly Services, just picking up hours any way that she could. And we were pregnant. Well, I wasn't pregnant, because we don't do that. We don't do that. She was pregnant. I was along for the ride. She is like, what are you doing? So she's pregnant and she's working jobs on the side. I was still waiting tables at Cracker Barrel. And then when I wasn't waiting tables at Cracker Barrel, I was moving furniture into hotels on Sanibel Island. For the young people in this room, starting out is hard. And we were saving, We were putting money away. We had to cut a deal with our first landlord because we didn't have enough for the security deposit. So we had to finance the security deposit in our rent for the first year in order to get into the apartment. And it was a 2-bedroom condo with those Jalopy windows. You guys remember those? It's true. We had to crank the thing. It's true. But that's how we started. And we've been blessed to build the Florida dream in our own lives. We've been blessed. And so what we want to make sure is that this state is affordable so that the next crop of young kids can build that Florida dream in their lives. I told you we have sons. The oldest is 22. Mrs. Donalds wants her baby boy back in Florida marrying a young lady so they could be pregnant together. And then, oh, y'all missed that one. So they can build that Florida dream for themselves. Again, this is not a political statement. That's a personal desire of parents who love this state, who have built everything in our lives in this state. That's what we want to be able to see for all Floridians. Everybody is talking about growth. I know. The roads are tight. Housing is going up. We got to figure out how we're going to manage our growth into the future. Here's what I will tell you, and I'm always going to cut straight with you. I'm never going to pull punches. I've never seen a successful family or a successful business or a successful organization get better by not growing. Ooh. Wilson, you heard that? That was the holy hush came in here. That's what that was. We have to manage it. We have to strategically think about where are we going to be getting our fresh water for the future? Where are we going to get the power generation? How are we going to build out roads? How do we protect the agricultural lands that are critical to Florida? Because we don't just feed us, we feed half this country. How do we protect all that while managing the growth? And that takes planning and that takes strategy. Let me give you a little bit of personal about me. I spent 17 years in the financial industry before politics, in the real world. Started out working in commercial banking. I was a credit analyst. I went up to managing the whole department. I did economic analysis for my bank. I went to insurance. I managed a $4 billion insurance portfolio. Then I went to financial services, and I invested other people's money. I built a book of business in Naples, Florida. Everything I've been talking about in this campaign is not politics. It's reality. It's affordability. It is sustaining the Florida greatness that we've all come to know. I say a lot that right now, Florida, we're like the 1992 Chicago Bulls. We just went back to back. But how do you get from 92 to 98? That's the question in front of us here in the great state of Florida. And last but not least, and I mentioned our sons, but it's about all our kids. Our kids have to be prepared for the future. And as a Florida State Seminole, and I'm from the crowd reaction, I think we got some University of Florida Gators in here too. Oh boy. We're just having fun. We don't need a rivalry. I'm running for governor. I love everybody now. We don't need rivalries anymore. It's okay. It's okay. But let's acknowledge something. Even though I'm a college graduate, not every kid in our schools is going to college, nor should they. For our kids who are not going into the universities, let's make sure they have apprenticeships and internships. Let's make sure they have the credentials they need. So when they graduate high school, they're walking directly into a job. And not just a job, a skill set that can help them put food on the table and build that Florida dream for themselves. When I travel the state, when Wilton travels the state, when Laurel travels the state, when Gus travels the state, there are so many of our business owners who didn't go to college or they dropped out. So going to get a trade or a skill is just as empowering as going to get an accounting degree from the University of Florida. See, I did it. Bringing everybody together, unifying. Now let's get serious. There is danger ahead, and it's the Florida Democrat Socialists of America. Because if you hear their words, they are very serious about wanting to stop all the successes that has made Florida, Florida. And I guess we'll find out in 24 days when the primary is over who their standard bearer is going to be. It looks to be a guy who used to be a Republican. It looks to be a guy who has a nice haircut and a nice suit, and he talks smooth, and he talks nice. But when you look behind the curtain, he was a career staffer his entire life in politics on Capitol Hill, career staffer. And then when former Congressman Bill Young passed away, he ran for the seat and won the seat. And you could tell he's a special kind of loser because he lost the seat the very next time he tried to keep it. He lost that seat to Charlie Crist. And so I think in the loss, he decided, if you can't beat him, join him. Because he is now the new Charlie Crist. He's a former Republican who was not successful, who became an independent, and all of a sudden decided in his mid-50s that he's a Democrat. And now he's trying to lecture you and I about what Florida values really are. But let's be clear, Florida values are the same values that are embodied in our Constitution, in Western civilization, in merit, in hard work, in family values, in making sure that boys are not in girls' sports. Those are Florida's values. Florida's values are about making sure that young girls grow up to be young women and that young boys grow up to be strong men, because Florida values are about those same American values that made us the envy of the world. So if you're gonna have a guy who called himself a Republican and failed and then became an independent and now a Democrat, and he's gonna lecture you and me about how to believe in Florida, or what the values are in Florida, we have to be united against a threat like that. My son, my youngest, the 15-year-old, told me after I got home at 7 o'clock last night that he wanted to go see Odysseus. No, because in the snow names, Odysseus is what they call it, but the Odyssey. So he took me, and it was 3 hours, and it was long. But I'm a dad, and so you spend time with your son. Honestly, it was actually really good. It was, I gotta admit it, it was good. But everybody knows the story of the Battle of Troy, how the Trojan army used the Trojan horse to get inside the walls. David Jolly is the Trojan horse. He is going to crisscross the state, and he's going to say, his speech is going to be like this. I'm going to try to do some of it. He's going to be very nice and very kind. And don't you know, let me do it right. And I just want you to know that we believe in the same values. We believe in the values of Florida. Don't you believe in that? Because I believe in that too. This is what you're going to see from David Jolly. You're going to see soft-spoken, fluffy words, no details, promising it's going to be okay. But what you have is somebody who didn't even have enough courage in his own convictions to stand by the policies and the values that he worked under when he worked for former Congressman Bill Young. You're looking at somebody who is a climber, who is a car salesman, because he believes that it's his time. But let me be very clear, Pasco County. This is not about David Jolly or Byron Donalds. This is about you, the people of Florida. Now some would say, well, Byron, why you? And I want to be very clear. I chose conservatism. My wife will tell you. At 28 years old, I was apolitical. I was like most people. Didn't care about politics. Then the financial collapse happened. And I started watching what was going on in the economy because my job depended on it. And I came across a committee, House Financial Services, And I was mad because the members of Congress didn't know what they were talking about. And so I started reading and watching. My wife came home one day and the news was on. And she goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm watching the news." And she said, "You never watch the news." And I said, "I know, but I got to see what's happening here because this is important." And through that process, this is when the TARP bailouts were going on. And I was opposed to those bailouts because they were wrong. And the Tea Party rallies started up all across the country. This is now 2009. And I went to the rally. And when I went out there, what I found were people who cared about this country like I did, who cared about balanced budgets like I did, who wanted to support the Constitution like I did. And I became a member of the Naples Tea Party. The first speech I ever gave was in the back of a flatbed pickup truck. It's actually on YouTube still today. And it was a good speech. It's good. And from there, I stayed involved in the Tea Party movement. I went to Tallahassee, won a seat in the State House in 2016. That's where I met Danny Burgess. That's where I met Wilton Simpson. That's where I met Blaise Ngolia. So I've known these men for a decade. If you look at my voting record, I have one of the most conservative voting records in all of America, not because I'm a Republican, but because I'm a conservative, and I chose to be a conservative. If you go to any of the organizations that you trust that look at these two men as the greatest modern presidents in America's history, Heritage Action, 100%. Numbers USA, 100%. The Liberty Score, 100%. Could go on and on. I say all this because this is not about politics. This is about what's required to keep Florida number one. And what's required to keep Florida number one is common sense, conservative leadership, which wasn't given to me. I chose to be this way. And so that's why I'm asking you for your trust to work with me and Wilton and Chris and everybody else to keep Florida number one in all of America. I get asked all the time, why do you run? Why do you do it? And I said, because I love this state. When I came here, I had nothing. The commercial is true. I had a trunk full of clothes and that was it. That was all. I built everything in my life, my wife and I. And she's a 6th generation Floridian. She's 6 generations. I built everything in my life in Florida. I love this state. I'll be damned if this state's gonna go down on my watch. So the goal is simple. I've lived here 30 years. When I'm 77 years old, 30 years into the future, and I'm long gone from politics, and it's the new Danny Burgess is up here, the new Danny or maybe Danny himself because he's really young. I know the beard is making him look old. And that person's up here doing this thing. I want to sit back, and I'm a cigar guy and a tequila guy, and I love my fire pit. I just want to sit out there and marvel that Florida is still the best state in America. Well, Pasco County, if we're going to do that, we got to do it together. So are you with us on this journey to keep Florida red this November? Troy, you better turn out the votes, brother. You got work to do. We're behind you 100%, Troy. God bless you, Pasco. God bless America. Let's keep it red. Thank you.